take a bottle of beer, take a tripod, and have a good sip. One of the cheapest beers available and one of the better ones. I am not paid by them. This video is not sponsored by anybody except myself, but this is Neumarkt. This is Radu and welcome to my channel. Welcome to this absolutely glorious day and welcome to a long overdue video. A few quick words on this rather lengthy hiatus. Long story short, I didn't feel like making any videos, and I kept thinking about it because life is what it is. You have to compromise in a lot of areas. You have to do things you don't feel like doing a lot of times. I'm speaking about jobs, I'm speaking about taxes, I'm speaking about meeting people you would rather not meet, and so on and so forth. And making videos and photography is the one thing in my life I try to keep compromise free. It is probably the only thing that's still pure. I don't have a following that's pressuring me and asking me for new videos. I don't make a single cent out of it, so there's no thoughts of if I'm not going to put out a video, I'm not making any money. There's no sponsorships, there's no contracts, there's nothing really pressuring me and driving me to make these videos. So everything here, everything you see on this channel is entirely self-driven, self-motivated is what I meant, and made entirely out of passion. So when I felt I was starting to burn out, when I felt I didn't enjoy it as much because there was the pressure of, oh, I didn't make a video this week, I didn't make a video the next week, I have to make something, I kind of decided to give it a little bit of a break. I'm fully aware this is probably entirely counterproductive as far as growing my channel is concerned. So if you do want to help me grow my channel, I would really appreciate a like, a subscribe, your comments, even your donations in the Buy Me a Coffee link down below. But without any of that, I will still keep on making these videos, just maybe in my own pace. And this pace, this rhythm of mine, sometimes requires a bit of a break. So let's have another sip of this wonderful Neumarkt and let's get to the meat and potatoes of this video. The Sigma Super Wide 2 24mm f2.8 is the subject of today's video. It's actually the lens I'm using throughout this whole video to shoot all these very wide shots you're going to see. And yeah, I'm going to spoil it for you. It's a sleeper. The Sigma Super Wide 2 24mm f2.8 was announced in 1986 and discontinued in the early 90s. It was the successor of the original Sigma Super Wide. People in the know are aware how good it is, but at first glance it might not appear anything that's worth a second look, but trust me, it is. It was available in all the popular mounts of the era. My copy features a Canon FD mount, a mount which is not without its peculiarities. On full frame it has an 84-degree diagonal field of view, a minimum focusing distance of just 18 centimeters, that's roughly 8.5 centimeters from the front of the lens, thus making it a very capable close-up lens with an effective magnification rate of quite an impressive 1:4, that's a quarter life size. With an optical design of 8 elements in 7 groups, with 6 straight aperture blades, the aperture system goes from wide open at f2.8 and closed down all the way to f22. The Sigma Super Wide 2 weighs 238 grams, and with the exception of the plastic aperture ring and the rubber focusing band, it's made entirely out of glass and metal, and pretty well built at that. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. We'll get to build quality and ease of use in a bit. This lens is also available rebranded as a Quant-Ray, but do keep in mind and be fully aware that it shares the exact same optical formula, so it will perform just the same, while having a rather cheaper price. That's not to say the Sigma is expensive by any means. You can easily find this for around $100, but with a bit of patience, a bit of know-how, and probably a little bit of luck, you can find one for considerably less. Take my example. I bought it off a lady that admittedly I don't think knew what she was selling. I paid around $70 for it with an NEX adapter included, so that was pretty much a steal. Be that as it may, this lens is far from expensive and quite easily available on the used markets. How's this for an edgy framing, huh? From now on, call me Radu the Edgelord. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video. Let's talk about what really matters, and that is image quality. The Sigma Super Wide 2 is really surprisingly sharp, with all its shortcomings, and there are some hefty ones at that. This lens is excellent. Even wide open, it's one of the sharpest lenses I've ever used, and I say that with great responsibility. It does improve a lot starting from f5.6 or even f8. It's really tack sharp. Although there is quite a large caveat, and I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here, touching on a negative, but this lens features massive field curvature. Imagine shooting a flat surface, focusing on the middle, and you would be safe to expect the entire frame to be sharp and in focus. Well, it's not the case with this lens. I'm going to put up an image on the screen portraying exactly that, but please be aware that at wide open apertures and at close-up working distances, this lens exhibits really great field curvatures. If you focus on the center part of the surface, you will get that to be sharp. But as soon as you move in just a little bit, you will see this on the screen. As soon as you move a little further from the center towards the edges, it's suddenly unsharp and out of focus. Then towards the extreme edges of the image, it's again sharp. This is field curvature, and it's one of the biggest flaws of this lens. The Sigma Super Wide 2 is great for black and white work. It delivers strong, punchy, contrasty tones, make it really excellent for monochrome. While the colors it delivers are very pleasantly saturated, they're vivid and bold, they're natural, even if a little on the warmer side. Another plus, and the surprising one at that, the out-of-focus depth of field blur this lens produces, especially so at close-up working distances and wide open, is very smooth. It's really wonderful, really something you would expect from longer lenses. But don't be fooled. Although wide angle, if used wisely, this lens can offer great subject separation, great bokeh. Another one of the weak points of this lens is that it flares quite a lot. it loses contrast, it starts exhibiting a bit of ghosting, but at the same time, the lens flares this lens produces are not entirely bad. They can be used creatively, they can be used artistically, so it's not all bad. Wrapping up stuff as far as image quality is concerned, considering this is a wide-angle lens, a little or more barrel distortion is to be expected and is present here. Also, a fair bit of chromatic aberrations, especially wide open, but this is nothing that can be fixed in post. Don't tell anyone. I've opened up another beer and it's practically gone. So, with that said, let's talk about the look and feel. Let's talk about the ergonomics. This lens is generally a pleasure to use. The focusing ring turns very smoothly and precisely. It has just the right amount of resistance, allowing for very precise focusing, very pleasant. It's got a really long throw at that, considering it's a wide angle, 180 degrees, I think it is 175. I think I've noticed a bit of, what is it? On the other hand, the plastic aperture ring is a bit of a letdown. It's a bit finicky, it's a bit flimsy in use. If you're not careful while turning it, it can skip a half stop, even a full stop. So the experience is not really that great. I guess while featuring this automatic mode, it was meant to be used automatically on cameras that supported that function. But manual use, the plastic aperture ring is really not great. Another thing that I kind of dislike is these markings are painted on the barrel, and they've already begun wiping off. It's got quite a bit of a heft. It balances nicely on the camera. It looks good. It's tiny. One thing I do not like is not a fault of the lens, but rather a peculiarity of the Canon FD mount. It features this locking ring, and at first I used to accidentally turn it all the time, and once or twice the lens almost fell off my camera, well, rather fell off my adapter. So I've had to tape it with electrical tape in order to I dropped the lens. But I do not worry, because it's really sturdy. And I was saying, the Canon FD mount with its quirky little lock and unlock ring, it's more hassle than it's worth, if you're asking me. That said, the lens is built well. With the exception of the aperture ring, I've got nothing but good things to say about this lens. In terms of how it handles, it's really sturdy. It even shaken, even I've just dropped it earlier onto the ground. It's really well built. I'm sure, I'm really certain this can last easily another 50 years. Well, except of course if you don't drop it from the 5th floor or something. It's really a case of, what do they say? They don't make them how they used to. A metal lens, glass elements, just a tiny bit of plastic and rubber here, but It's really a great lens at that. This just about wraps it up. These were my thoughts, opinions, impressions and conclusions regarding the Sigma Super Wide 2 24mm f2.8. If you enjoyed this video, if you found anything useful here, entertaining, worthwhile, please do consider supporting this endeavor of mine. There's a handful of ways you can do this. The easiest and probably the most valuable way you can offer your help is just to simply obliterate that like button. Do please join in on the conversation. Tell me if you've used this lens. Tell me if you plan on getting this lens. Comment down below and pretty much share anything you've got to say regarding the content in this video, regarding the lens we're talking about here. Also, please do consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell icon, because this way you'll be notified whenever I upload new content. There's also a Buy Me a Coffee link down below, so if you find it in your heart that you want to donate $1 or $2, please do so. With that said, I'm going to wrap things up here. This has been Radu. Until next time, be well everybody. Bye bye.